Today, we're going to be going over how to fish in Rust. This is going to be going over some of the specifics that a lot of videos leave out, such as bait levels, why they matter, and why the location that you fish in does actually matter. If you're looking at this video wondering where the voice changing part comes in, you're talking about the wrong type of fishing. So let's get into how to fish in Rust. If you want to fish in Rust, the first thing you need is a fishing rod and bait. That makes sense, right? To get a fishing rod, you can go to the fishing village and buy it for 80 scrap. You can craft a fishing rod, or you could run a quest like this where you just find a tackle box located 2 seconds away from the fishing village, go back and you've got your fishing rod along with some bait for pretty much free. Comes to bait, there's a variety of things that you can use as bait. You can use other fish as bait, you can use fish meat as bait, which is what you get when you cut up a fish or gut a fish. You can also use worms that you find while picking up plants as bait, or you could use grubs as bait, which you're also going to find while picking up plants. As you're going to notice, everything has a different bait level, and the bait level dictates what type of fish you can get. We're going to get into that later, but first, how you're actually going to want to fish is you put your bait into your fishing rod, then you cast your fishing rod out to where you can see sort of that blue bobber. So it's going to be red. Once it turns blue, you can cast your fishing line there. So cast your fishing line, then you're going to wait for it to get pulled, and at this point, you're going to want to reel in the fishing line. Now, when you reel in the fishing line, you're going to want to go back and forth with the fishing line. You're going to go sort of back and forth with the fish. You're going to really get a feel for it pretty quickly. When the fishing line starts to shake and make sort of that noise like it's about to break, let off on the line. Stop pulling in, let the line pull out a little bit, and then you can begin pulling in again. It's not a complicated system, but you really need to start getting the feel from it. But just knowing that you can sort of go back and forth and you're going to feel the fish come in more when you go left or when you go right. Just keep doing that until you stop getting results and then go the opposite direction or just try and pull it straight in. It takes a little bit of time to get used to, and the higher level the fish, the harder it is going to be to reel that fish in. Now let's talk about the level of fish and the locations in which you can fish. So here's how it's going to work. When it comes to fish, some fish you can find in all locations, some fish are only found in rivers and swamps, and some fish are only found in the oceans. Now let's go into the fish types that you can find in the various locations. So sardine, herring, and anchovies you can find in all locations. The bait levels for these fish pretty much starts at 0.5, which would be the minimum bait level. After that, you don't have bait, you just have a random object. In my experience, it goes up to about 5. A lot of guides, it's going to tell you 2.5, but I've managed to catch anchovy, herring, and sardines with a bait level of 5. After that, you've got yellow perch, which can only be found in rivers and swamps, and those are going to take a bait level of 3 to 10. You've got small trout, which is going to be found in oceans. Again, that's going to have a bait level of 3 to 10. And then after that, you've got small shark. Sharks are only going to be found in the ocean, and they have a bait level of 5 to 10. After that, you've got salmon, which can be found everywhere, and that has a bait level of 5 to 10. You've got orange roughy, which again has a bait level of 5 to 10, and that supposedly can only be found in underwater labs. So you've got to be underwater to find that, I guess. I've never caught it, so that does make sense because I don't really fish from the underwater labs. And finally, you've got catfish, which can be found in rivers and swamps, and they've got a bait level of 5 to 10. Now, to make all these bait level things make sense, here's how it's basically going to work. You're going to be running around on the land, you're going to get grubs, you're going to get worms. You're going to want to use these. You're going to use those pretty much to catch sardines, herrings, and anchovies. If you're really lucky, you might be able to catch a yellow perch or a small trout. Once you catch the sardines, herrings, and anchovies, you're going to want to gut them. You're going to get meat. You can use that meat to fish. That's going to have a bait level of 5. So now sort of you can catch anything. You're most likely to catch yellow perch and small trout, which is going to have a bait level of 10. And then you can use those to have a very high likelihood of catching things like your small shark, salmon, orange roughy, and catfish. And at this point, I've got to ask you if you can please hit the subscribe button. I'm going for 100,000 subscribers. It's a real battle, but it seems like when I ask, a lot of people do hit subscribe. So it gives me hope that people enjoy these videos, learn from them, and are willing to support the cause. For free, of course. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.